okay? So you want to sit low. If you want to travel farther, you sit lower, okay? You don't spread your feet out because this just grounds you again. Now you have to lift your weight off of a foot. So this low hip is what allows you your mobility, not just forward, but in all directions. It allows me to defend, to float around my opponent, okay? Does that make sense? The next is the hand position in front of the shoulder. I made it clear that those three motions I put through are actually the same ones. They're no different. So every shot that I throw, they all look the same. So until the shot's halfway done, two things. Number one, it's harder to predict because it hasn't taken a path yet. And number two, once you get used to it, you can actually change that path partway through. Okay? That motion is all your shots. A wrap is even a slight variation of it, but it's still the same thing. So now, when I throw, if I throw straight forward, it's here, here, here. If I want to fire at body, it's this shot, but here, here. Offside arm, onside shoulder, leg. Even the chest is this shot pushed down. So they're all the same. So I don't do anything different. And we've all had opponents, if you watch, if they do things different for every shot, you can tell what it is they're going to be throwing. Blocking. The reason the shield is up here by the temple and not down, I see this fairly frequently. Shield down, sword up. What people like about this is the shield shuts down the body, sword picks up the head. That's absolutely true. And if you have sharp timing, it's a really strong defense. Weaknesses, you're limited in your firepower because the shield is now in your way. I also find some people can't move as fast on their field, or on their feet, because the bottom of the shield will be in the way of their knees. The problem with this is when you get up into the higher ranks, we begin to break timing. So that perfect timing you have becomes a detriment. We move, make you move at a certain time, and then we go the other way, and you're caught doing this and getting hit on this side. All because you're relying on strictly a defensive move, especially committing your sword, which is something you want to try to stay away from. So by putting this corner up here, I shut down this side of my head, and my upper body are shut down with this shield. Going back to my sword position, because it's in front of my shoulder, it creates what we call our A-frame, okay? Which you probably most heard. It creates this upside down V, so nothing can come in up here. If I am sitting straight down, they can't get past the shield to get behind me. So I've shut down all these angles. The only thing they're left with is a leg, or they are forced to move. Well, if an opponent has to move laterally, I bought myself some time, because that's an easier motion to pick up. So do those whys make sense to everyone? So any questions at this point? The last thing is your eyes, where your eyes point. I see two different things typically. One is people without a lot of martial background tend to be social people, so they look people in the eye. People with a strong martial background tend to use this right here. I watch the center of the body so I can see all the mass movement. That's brilliant. That's exactly why you do that in the martial arts. However, in most martial arts, the whole body is a weapon. I need to know where all of him is going to be because I don't know what part of him is going to be clocking me. Okay? In our sport, not the case. Florentine's the only thing that varies, and that's only slightly. My eyes, because they have to point someplace, yes, you use your peripheral vision, but your eyes have to point someplace. So I point them just above the basket hilt. The rotation of the weapon happens there. So no matter what kind of fakes or feints or whatever a person does, the rotation happens here, and I can see where the weapon's going to go. When my eyes come off of that, I can't. Okay? For those of you that are more advanced, what I tend to do is my vision goes anywhere from about 4 inches above the basket down to the elbow, depending. For us beginners, the ideal thing is right up here above the basket hilt, because you can't fake the rotation. I can tilt my weapon to feint this direction, but I have to commit my weapon to do that. To change direction back again, it has to rotate. And if you're following the rotation, you'll always know where the weapon is. I have had people who, when I fight, will sometimes, they'll relax, when they're out, which is good. And they'll be down here with their sword. And a couple times I've had people, they stop and they look at me and then they look behind themselves to see what it is they're going to run into. Because my eyes have not left their sword. So they drop it down and my eyes drop down too. And I'm watching so they think I'm looking behind them. I do not take my eyes off this. A quick little story, if anybody knows Duke Ragnvaldr from Ethelmark, okay, he's a lefty too, and extremely fast. Typically, I beat him most of the time. This one practice we had, he was beating me about 70–80% of the time. What threw me was I couldn't even see his shot. Now, I get killed, I get hit all the time, but I can at least tell what happened. I saw the shot, I know what happened. He's throwing stuff I can't even see, and I'm like, what the heck? So I focus tighter, so I can see it, and I'm still not seeing it. Then I realized, and the lesson here is, you're always going to be improving. I was focused really hard on his boss, on his shield. He's left-handed, so I let my eyes fall lazily like they always do on a right-hander's hand, which is his shield. Of course I can't see his weapon. I'm not looking at it. I berated myself internally, put my eyes on his weapon, and immediately changed. I started winning about 80% of those fights. Totally flipped. Why? Because I could see his weapon now. I still choose my targets peripherally, but I watch the weapon there, okay? That's basically it for the beginner stuff. So I want to go through it one more time so we all feel it and we all get our key words.